Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Ottawa City Commission regular meeting for May 3rd, 2017. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Kaler.
Present.
Commissioner Skidmore.
Present.
Commissioner Graves.
Present.
Commissioner Jorgensen.
Present.
Commissioner Reed.
Present.
We'd like to welcome everyone who is in the audience tonight and those that may be listening either on the ottawakansas.gov site or on Facebook Live or listening on KOFO. We appreciate you being part of the process. We start every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and today we will follow it with an invocation with Pastor Sam Renfro from Ottawa Community Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight and we are so grateful and thankful for your love for us. And Father, we need your help tonight, and we ask for your guidance and for your wisdom. We know your word teaches us that if we are seekers of wisdom, we can simply come to you and ask for it, and you giveth to us liberally and upbraideth not. And we thank you for that. We pray for wisdom. We pray for guidance. We pray for direction in this meeting tonight. We pray for those that will be making the decisions and leading. I pray that you'd give them your guidance and your direction. And Lord, we love you and thank you for the way that you bless and take care of us. Bless now this time tonight and those that will be making these decisions. We pray in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Renfro. We appreciate you being here this evening. That moves us on to the next items on our consent agenda, which include minutes from the April 5th, 2017 regular meeting, April 10th study session, April 10th and April 11th special call commission retreats. It also includes approval of new members to our boards and commissions and an application for cereal malt beverage license for the 2017 calendar year. Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion we approve the consent agenda tonight.
There's been a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That moves us on to our regular agenda, which begins every meeting with public comment. Do we have individuals who have registered to speak in public comment?
This evening.
Okay. Then we will not read that paragraph, but please know that anyone is welcome at any time to address the City Commission. We love to hear from you, and we work here for you, and we like to hear from our citizens. So please come to any meeting and do so. We move on to declaration. At this time, I'd like to give commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication that they might have had that would influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially. Commissioners? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward. Today is a month of celebration, and it begins a month of celebration for our community. First and foremost, for the service of our Commissioner Reed, but also to celebrate so many wonderful things happening in our community. And that begins with many proclamations today, and we will begin with proclamation as listed number 12 on our agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 2017 as Community Action Month.
ECAN is now celebrating a remarkable 50-year history of working towards the common good in the City of Ottawa. Teresia Templeton, ECAN Human Service Coordinator, will accept this proclamation, which will be read by Commissioner Graves.
The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas community action agencies were created when the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964 was signed into law, and whereas the East Central Kansas Economic Opportunity Corporation, ECAN, was established in 1966, and whereas ECAN is now celebrating a remarkable 50-year history of working towards the common good in the City of Ottawa, and whereas ECAN has a rich history in the City of Ottawa of acting as a catalyst in establishing innovative programs and services such as Meals on Wheels, public transportation for the elderly and low-income populations, community gardens, and the Christmas Bureau. And whereas community action agencies are needed as major participants in the reform of the welfare system as we know it, and whereas individuals and families on limited income continue to need opportunities to improve their lives and their living conditions, thus ensuring that all citizens are able to live in dignity, and whereas the poverty rate in Franklin County is 13.1%, and whereas there are 3,371 individuals that meet the federal poverty guidelines, and whereas Kansas and the entire United States must continue to wage war on poverty by providing support and opportunities for all citizens in need of assistance, and whereas the City of Ottawa and ECAN have worked together to meet the needs of our most vulnerable citizens, and therefore we, the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2017 to be Community Action Month in the City of Ottawa, Kansas, in recognition of the hard work and dedication of Kansas Community Action Agencies. Signed this 3rd day of May 2017 by our Mayor, Sarah Kaler.
Tracia, would you like to come forward? I feel like we've taken a picture before, right? I'm happy to take another one. Awesome. Thank you. We'd love to hear from you.
I just thank you for giving us this opportunity to come before you this evening, and thank you for partnering so much with ECAN. We know we cannot do it alone, and we have many, many partners, and we thank the City of Ottawa for being one of our partners. And also like to tell you invite you on May the 12th at 8 o'clock. We will have a chamber coffee at the Don Woodward Center at 517 East 3rd, and you're all welcome to come.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. That moves us on to item 13 on the agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 15th through August 22nd, 2017 as ECAN's Summer Lunch Bunch Feeding Program.
The summer food program provides a free, nutritious meal and snacks to children ages 1 through 18 through summer when school is out. Richard Jackson, ECAN Chief Executive Officer, will accept this proclamation. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas, for over a half a century, let's start over again. Whereas, for over a half a century, beginning with a national school program in 1946, the nation has steadily built an array of nutritional assistance programs to build healthier generations of Americans. And whereas, when school lets out, many children lose access to those healthy meals. And whereas children need good nutrition all year long. Since 1975, the summer food program has alleviated this burden by nourishing children and teens while school is out. And whereas the summer food service program provides nutritious meals and snacks to children ages 1 through 18 throughout the summer and when school is out. And whereas ECAN's Summer Lunch Bunch program runs from May 15th to August 22nd, 2017. And whereas during the week of May 15th through 19th, ECAN and the City of Ottawa will host a kickoff week for Summer Lunch Bunch program. And whereas it is important to ensure that every child in the City of Ottawa has access to nutritious meals during the summer as well as during the school year. Now, therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, does hereby proclaim May 15th through August 22nd, 2017 to be ECAN's Summer Lunch Bunch Feeding Program in the City of Ottawa and urges all citizens to honor ECAN's Summer Lunch Bunch Feeding Program and the children that they serve, the volunteers and the volunteers who care for them. Signed this the 3rd day of May 2017 by myself, Sarah Kaler, the mayor. Mr. Jackson, we'd love for you to come up and receive this and tell us about the lunch bunch. Awesome. We'd love to hear from you and how we can get excited and involved.
You're involved.
We can all be just a little bit more involved in our citizens.
Yes. We might rename that. We had the ECAN Summer Lunch. I think it ought to be ECAN/City of Ottawa because, as you know, we got a National League of Cities grant to partner to try and increase the number of students that are taking part in the summer lunch program and then also the after-school program, but that comes later. As you mentioned, we're starting to kick off on May 15th, and I left some copies with the city manager, so each of you will have one. Might mention a couple activities. We're trying to come up with some different events and different ideas that we think might attract some of our youth. So we're starting off with Slugger, and that'll be the first one up. No pun intended on that on Monday, and then the second, the Tuesday, we go to KC Wolf, the Kansas City Chiefs. We got the Royals and we got the Chiefs, and then the third day we have Miss Outstanding Team Kansas. That is coming, and then I think the next day, that Thursday, I think we've made a switch, and I think we'll have the Sheriff's Department and their drug dogs there, so kids can see how they interact when they come across someone that may have drugs. And then we have some other activities during the year. We got Baby Joe, Doe, Jane, KU mascot will be coming. So we're trying to come up with enough of activities and include a whole host of different organizations as well as City Commission. I think you're committed to 2 days, 2 days a week, and I think that's good to have kids have an opportunity to see the City Commission, Fire Department, the Chief of Police, and other departments. I think that's good. So, again, we thank you for your support on that. I mentioned one other thing during Community Action Month that we're doing this year is we're doing a day of volunteerism on part of half of the agency. So I think we'll be doing some volunteer work with the city and other organizations, and that's something that we're going to try to do every year. And we picked the Ottawa community because we've been blessed being here and all of the support that you've given us and others in the community. So thank you.
Mr. Jackson, if somebody is interested in volunteering for the Summer Lunch Bunch feeding program, how would one get more information about that?
Call the central office, 242-7450, and ask for Valerie.
And can any child come to the Summer Lunch Bunch program?
Any child, age 1 to 18.
Okay.
We start at 12 and we cut off at 12:30 with the lunch part. We'll have activities before or after that.
Great. Thank you for the service. We appreciate it. Next, another item to celebrate here in the City of Ottawa. Item 14 on the agenda, please.
Proclamation recognizing May 2017 as Mental Health Month.
This national initiative helps focus on how people can address their mental health early rather than at stage 4 when symptoms become more severe and recovery can be a larger process. Kiki Heck from Elizabeth Layton Center, who is an executive integration specialist, will accept this proclamation, which will be read by Commissioner Reed.
And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas mental illnesses are real and prevalent in our nation, and half of us will have a mental health diagnosis at some point in our lives, and whereas all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives and should feel comfortable in seeking help and support to manage these times, and whereas engaging in prevention, early identification, and early intervention are as effective ways to reduce the burden of mental illnesses as they are to reduce the burden of other chronic conditions, and whereas there is a strong body of research that identifies behavioral health risks and supports specific tools that all Americans can use to protect their health and well-being, and whereas with effective treatment before stage 4, all individuals with mental illnesses, even serious mental illnesses, can make progress toward recovery and lead full productive lives. And whereas jails and prisons have often become the default places of custodial care for even nonviolent people with serious mental illnesses, and whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen has a responsibility to promote mental health and well-being for all. Now, therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa does hereby proclaim May 2017 as Mental Health Month. But be it further resolved that the governing body of the City of Ottawa also calls upon its citizens, its government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Ottawa, Kansas, to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions before they reach stage 4. Signed this third day of May 2017 by our Mayor, Sarah Kaler.
Kiki, would you like to come forward? Awesome. We'd like to hear from you.
On behalf of the Elizabeth Layton Center, I want to thank the City of Ottawa for your support of the mental health services we provide in our community. Our mission is to provide timely, effective, and comprehensive behavioral health services to improve quality of life and recovery for the citizens of Franklin and Miami counties in partnership with individuals, families, and our community. This year, Mental Health America has chosen risky business as the theme for the 2017 May is Mental Health Month campaign. People experience symptoms of mental illness in different ways. Some engage in potentially dangerous and risky behaviors. Activities like compulsive sex, recreational drug use, obsessive internet use, prescription drug misuse, excessive spending, or disordered exercise patterns can all be behaviors that can disrupt a person's mental health and potentially lead them down a path toward crisis. Sometimes people, especially young people, may engage in potentially risky behaviors to manage, avoid, or cover up symptoms of a mental health problem. It is often hard to distinguish these behaviors from normal growing up, and as a result, family and friends may underreact or overreact to the person engaging in the risky behaviors. Being aware of possible symptoms and increasing services and seeking services early can prevent episodes of extreme, prolonged, and persistent symptoms and impairment due to mental illness. Thank you again for recommitting our community to increased awareness and understanding of mental health and doing so in a compassionate, judgment-free way. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kiki. Appreciate it. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 2017 as National Bike Month.
Established in 1956, National Bike Month is a chance to showcase the many benefits of bicycling that include saving time and money, preserving your health and environment, and exploring your community. Lewis Reed, Active Transportation Committee, will accept the proclamation, which will be read by his wife, Linda Reed.
And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the bicycle is an economical, healthy, convenient, and environmentally sound form of transportation and an excellent form for recreation and enjoyment of Ottawa's scenic beauty, and whereas through the month of May, the residents of Ottawa and its visitors will experience the joys of bicycling through educational programs, commuting events, charity events, or by simply getting out and going for a ride. And whereas Ottawa's road and trail system attracts bicyclists each year, providing economic health, transportation, tourism, and scenic benefits. And whereas creating a bicycle-friendly community has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, to boost community spirit, improve traffic safety, reduce pollution, congestion, and wear and tear on our streets and roads. And whereas Franklin County Healthy Communities Initiative, the League of American Bicyclists, schools, parks, and recreation departments, police department, hospitals, companies, and civic groups throughout Ottawa will be promoting bicycling during the month of May. Whereas these groups are also promoting greater public awareness of bicycle operations and safety education in an effort to reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities, and improve health, safety, and comfort for all travelers. And now, therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, does hereby proclaim the month of May 2017 as National Bike Month, May 10th as Bike to School Day, the week of May 15th through the 19th as Bike to Work Week, and May 19th as National Bike to Work Day, and urges all its residents to participate in this special observance. Signed this third day of May 2017 by our Mayor, Sarah Kaler.
And I wonder, Mayor Pro Tem, if you'd like to give this to your husband, since this will be the last proclamation that you'll read here on the Ottawa City Commission. I think it's proof.
Then I'm going to make him speak at the podium.
As you should.
handshake instead of a kiss?
It's a little far.
Wasn't like your first date.
Excellent. Oh, you got to take the proclamation. You can keep it, Louis.
Thank you. As a member of the biking community and somebody who loves to ride a bike, I appreciate that after 9 years, Linda might be able to ride her bike with me more often after the night.
Monday afternoon, she's free.
Exactly. So we appreciate all the efforts that the city has made to make this a more bike-friendly community. And all you have to do is look around and see the many grants that the city has gone after. You're helping to complete the east and west rail trail. You maintain the north and south trail. We appreciate the bike lane that was put down the middle of Walnut Street, all the efforts that you put into making this a bike-friendlier community. I'm a member of the Active Transportation Committee, and along with that, we try to promote walking and biking, and people had expressed an interest in a bike club in Ottawa, and about a little over a month ago, we just threw together a meeting to see if there was any interest in forming a bike club and people getting together to ride. And we had a meeting here in the room, and there were like 20, 25 people there.
Awesome.
And out of that, we've put together some bike rides that I'm inviting you and the community to join us. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m., every Thursday at 6 p.m., and every Saturday at 9 a.m. in the morning. We're meeting at the Old Depot Museum. Whoever shows up, we go out and ride a bike. Sometimes we've had a lot, sometimes we've had a few, but we go out every time. Also on the first Friday of every month, we have a noon ride that leaves from Kansas Park. So we invite you to come out and join us and enjoy the sunshine and ride your bike. So thank you.
Before you leave, Louis, tell the community those times again. Tuesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 6 p.m. I've missed Saturday.
Saturday at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Leave from the Old Depot Museum.
And then the first Friday at noon at Kansas Park.
At Kansas Park.
Great.
Which I believe is this Friday,
Awesome.
I think. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for putting that together.
Also, somewhere on here I have, there's a bike to movie. May 30th, there's Bike to the Movie, and you get in free to the movies if you ride your bike. So, thank you.
Awesome. All right, thank you. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 7th through 13th, 2017 as Drinking Water Week.
For more than 35 years, water professionals in the communities they serve have observed Drinking Water Week in recognition of the vital role water plays in our daily lives. David Bueller, Assistant Utilities Director, will accept this proclamation that will be read by myself, and I am going to hold my glass of water while I do that. Whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy. And whereas any measure of a successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth, and diversity, productivity, and public safety are all related to access to safe water. And whereas we are stewards of our water infrastructure upon which our future generations depend, and whereas each citizen of our city is called upon to help protect our water source from pollution, to practice water conservation, and to get involved in local water issues by getting to know their water. Now, therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa does hereby proclaim May 7th through 13th to be Drinking Water Week in Ottawa, Kansas, and urges all citizens to protect and preserve the access that we have to safe water. Signed this the third day of May 2017. Mr. Bueller, would you like to come this way? I am going to put my water down. I hope that's okay. Yes, yes, cheers, everyone. Excellent. Yeah, see, that's good. Shake my hand. All right, excellent. We'd love to hear from you. All jokes aside, it's very important.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, I want to thank you for taking up the proclamation for making this Drinking Water Week next week to focus on the value of water within our community and the state and the country. It's appropriate that I mention a couple things that will be coming up relevant to water, and the proclamation speaks to getting to know your water system. We'll be privileged in the state to have a traveling exhibit from the Smithsonian Institute this summer on waterways. The nearest location of the actual Smithsonian traveling exhibition will be in Eudora at the Historical Society on June 24th through August 6th. However, our local Historical Society and the Old Depot Museum will have exhibits relating to water, and they will also be offering opportunities to sign up at the depot for tours of our water treatment and water reclamation facilities, so our community can indeed get to know a little bit more about our infrastructure, our water, and what have you. The second thing I'm pleased to also announce is the city has partnered with Wichita State University and Kansas municipalities on a grant, Work in Water. And through that process, we had a two different Friday events. One was a training session involving juniors and seniors at high school that were interested in water and the environment. And they did lots of experiments. Tanya Bromley from WSU held that. And then the following Friday, they did tours of our facilities. Through that process, they then interviewed, went through the HR process, got to know what it's like to interview with the city, and in the process, we have actually hired two. One we grant funded, and we had enough interest and a couple of very good candidates, and we opted to go ahead and pay one out of our city utility funds. So this summer, we will have two interns from Ottawa High School. They'll be working for 9 weeks. They'll be revolving between the plants, working some distribution, working some in the utility office and computer room, just getting the feel for what the water industry is and what it's like to work for a municipal water system. Again, thank you for your proclamation of Water Week.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping our water system safe. We appreciate it, Mr. Bueller. And you did bring up a great point. Any citizen can come and take a tour. They just need to contact your office. It's certainly not something, it's not a walk-up thing, but certainly a tour can be scheduled because it's their water system too. So we encourage citizens to do that, and I think it's a great tour to take. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 7th through 13th, 2017 as City Clerks Week.
Since 1969, the International Institute of Municipal Clerks has sponsored Municipal Clerks Week to recognize the vital services that municipal clerks perform in their community. Amy Finch, our outstanding city clerk, will accept this proclamation, which will be read by Commissioner Jorgensen.
And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the office of the city clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the city clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the city clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas the city clerk have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas city clerks serve as the information center on functions of local government and the communities. And whereas city clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of their office through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of the state and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishment of the office of the city clerk of the city of Ottawa. Now therefore, the governing body of the city of Ottawa, Kansas does hereby proclaim May 7th through May 13th, 2017 as City Clerks Week in the city of Ottawa, and extends its appreciation to City Clerk Amy Finch and Assistant City Clerk Laura Gimzo for the vital services they perform and for their exemplary service and dedication to the City of Ottawa. Signed this 3rd day of May 2017 by our mayor and yours, Sarah Kaler.
Come on up, Mrs. Finch. We'd love to give this to you. Yes, you do. How exciting. We'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure that Laurel will take the minutes of what you said.
Yes, she will.
Copious
Okay,
minutes.
So, thank you very much for the proclamation. It is an honor to be recognized, especially as part of Public Service Recognition Week. I know I'm honored, and I think I can speak for Laurel, to work for the community, for the commission, and have the interaction we have with all of our elected officials. So, thank you.
Thank you. Take a long pause because then Mrs. Finch reads the next item on our agenda.
Thank you.
So, and that would bring us to the next item on the agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 14th through 20th, 2017 as Police Week.
Established in 1962 by President John F. Kennedy, and a joint resolution of Congress, National Police Week pays special tribute to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for safety and protection of others. Police Chief Dennis Butler will accept the proclamation, which will be read by Commissioner Skidmore.
That's right. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Ottawa Police Department. And whereas there have been 15,548 assaults against law enforcement officers in 2016, resulting in approximately 14,453 injuries. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, more than 20,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice, having been killed in the line of duty, including one member of the Ottawa Police Department. Whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., whereas 394 new names of fallen heroes have been added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 143 officers killed in 2016 and 251 officers killed in the previous years. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 29th Annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2017. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the National Police Week, which takes place this year on May 14 through 20, note because May 14th falls on a Sunday, some events will take place before the official dates of Police Week 2017. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers, their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. And whereas to be resolved, and therefore be it resolved that we are the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 14 through 20, 2017 to be Police Week in Ottawa, Kansas, and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Signed this third day, 2017, by our Mayor, Sarah Kaler.
All right. Chief Butler. We'd love to hear from you, Chief Butler. Yes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Commissioners. Thank you for this proclamation. There's several things I'd like to share with you, and I'll be brief. Next Thursday, May 18th, we will have a local memorial service here at Faith Lutheran Church. It's at 6 p.m. You are invited, and the public is invited as well. And at that service, we do recognize the sacrifice of Captain Cowden from the Ottawa Police Department and Deputy Sam Smith from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. Also, the next day, and I don't know how well publicized it's been, the Sheriff's Office is dedicating their training room in honor of Sam Smith, and there's a public ceremony on that day. The exact time escapes me right now, but I can find out and let Richard know, so you can. 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock in the morning. Sounds like a chamber coffee as well. So I plan to attend that, and I would encourage all of you to do as well. Something interesting happened late last year I wanted to share with you. I go to academy graduations in Hutchinson, Kansas, and they have a very well done video memoriam of all of the law enforcement officers who have graduated from there who later died in the line of duty. And they have a wall of honor out in the lobby of the law enforcement, or excuse me, of the training center there, which has photographs and some biographical information of each officer. And it's so well done that I reached out with the permission of the director of Craig Floyd, who is the director of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund in Washington, D.C. And I invited him to come to a graduation and be the keynote speaker, also to be able to show him the Wall of Honor there and the video memorial that they do each year, and he accepted. And he had never been to Kansas before. And so there was a lot of firsts there, and I picked him up at the airport in Wichita and put him up in a hotel and took him to graduation the next day, and he gave a great speech. And he and I have stayed in touch, and I've put him in touch with other people here in Kansas. And last year in Kansas, 3 officers died in the line of duty, and they're going to be recognized Thursday and Friday up at the State House in Topeka. I'll be going up Friday as part of that to participate in the ceremony. I think the governor and the attorney general will be speaking. So on behalf of the police department and law enforcement here in Franklin County, I'd like to thank you for this proclamation. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate it. And that leads us to the next item on the agenda.
Proclamation recognizing May 7th through 13th, 2017 as Public Service Recognition Week.
Since 1985, Public Service Recognition Week is organized annually to honor the men and women who serve our nation as federal, state, county, and local government employees. Michelle Stegman, Human Resources Director, and Wendy Lee, Community Development Director, will accept the proclamation. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas Americans are served every day by public servants at the federal, state, county, and city levels. They are unsung heroes that do the work that keeps our nation working. And whereas public employees take not only jobs but oaths. And whereas public servants include teachers, doctors, scientists, utility and law enforcement employees, nurses, safety inspectors, laborers, computer technicians, clerks, and other countless occupations. Day in and day out, they provide the diverse services demanded by the American people of their government with efficiency and integrity. And whereas these public servants at every level continuity would be impossible without the public servants at every level, and democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. Whereas the City Commission particularly want to thank all the employees who serve the citizens of Ottawa. Now, therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, does hereby proclaim May 7th through 13th, 2017 to be Public Service Recognition Week in Ottawa, Kansas, and all citizens are encouraged to recognize the accomplishments and contributions of government employees at all levels, federal, state, county, and city. Signed this the 3rd day of May, 2017 by myself, Sarah Kaler, the mayor. Michelle and Wendy, please come forward. Thank you for your service, and we'd like to hear from you.
Thank you, Mayor Kaler and Commissioners, for the proclamation. I want to thank our employees and the Commissioners for their dedication and service to the organization and to our community. It's only fitting that I share what the core value of service is for the City of Ottawa, and there's a couple of bullet points I'm going to read to you. We diligently maintain the highest professional standards and build public trust through our performance. We work as a team without regard to department or position to accomplish our goals. We collaborate with other departments, outside entities, and the public. We strive for excellence in communication and proficiency in our career performance. Thank you very much.
It was interesting to me to note that that started in 1985, because to my knowledge, and I'm one of the long-timers now, we've not ever recognized Public Service Week as a proclamation or with our employees. And the last couple of years, I've seen announcements about it, but it's been too late. And so this year, with the city manager's encouragement, we brought you this proclamation, and we're going to do a couple of events to celebrate that. And to start with, we actually have a gift for each of you, because you too are giving your service to the community. So we're going to give you that, and then Michelle's going to play a little more.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. We announced to our employees today that on May 11th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Ottawa Municipal Auditorium in the basement, we're going to be we're going to have drawings, giveaways for our employees, and recognize their service. We're going to give out ice cream bars and some other goodies, and so it's again May 11th from 2 to 4 for our city employees.
Wait, where was that again?
Ottawa Municipal Memorial Auditorium. Thank you.
Soon to be.
Awesome.
2 to 4.
Thank you. That's exciting. Thank you. And thank you for the gift. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Request for approval of resolution authorizing and restoring the name of the public auditorium.
This resolution authorizes and restores the name of the public auditorium located at 301 South Hickory back to Ottawa Memorial Auditorium. And I believe Tiffany Evans will be addressing this matter.
Good evening, Commissioners, and I just have to mention that over the past several weeks since we talked about this at the study session, and people have seen it in the newspaper and on the radio, I've been stopped in the grocery store. I've had Facebook messages from citizens of the community who are excited that we are making this restoration of the name. Just a brief history on the auditorium for folks that weren't at the study session last week or watching in. It was in 1919, after a surge of patriotism, that the City of Ottawa decided to build an auditorium dedicated to the memory of the lives lost in World War I. A $75,000 special bond issue was passed, and designer and architect George Washburn got to work and designing the Ottawa Memorial Auditorium. It was dedicated in 1921 and was the place to go, with 1,400 seats for concerts and ballets and operas and religious revivals. But after the flood of 1951, decay and high maintenance costs took their toll, and in 1974 the city actually closed the auditorium, deeming it unsafe. The community didn't fight, but they wanted to have that auditorium back, and so there was discussion of, should we build a new one, should we renovate this one, and voters voted 3-1 to pass a bond to renovate the auditorium. When it reopened, however, it was the Ottawa Municipal Auditorium. So I know the OMA Advisory Board discussed last fall in November that they made the recommendation to change the name back to Memorial Auditorium, and I'm excited that you all are considering that and voting on that tonight.
Commissioners, are there questions for Mrs. Evans? If not, I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner?
I move to approve the request and rename the auditorium to its original name, the Ottawa Memorial Auditorium.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we change that we approve the resolution and restore the name to Ottawa Memorial Auditorium. Commissioners, is there any discussion? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion proudly carries. Thank you.
And be looking in the next month or so for a renaming grand celebration event to be held at the OMA. So.
Okay, perfect. Great. We will look forward to seeing that. Next, that moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Request for approval of 2017 Willow Domestic Violence Center funding agreement.
This agreement outlines terms for funding in 2017. City Manager Ninestep, would you like to address this matter?
I will, Commissioners. As you know, we have made an allocation to Elizabeth Layton Center for this year, so this agreement covers this year, 2017, in the amount of $2,500. And what we're trying to do is put together an agreement with all of the organizations, the community organizations that you fund, and standardize that so we have a written agreement with everybody that basically makes some of the same requests, but they're all unique and they have different. But what I want you to know about this agreement are the deliverables that we've asked the Willow Domestic Violence Center to provide to the city for this funding. Number one, provide safety and advocacy for domestic violence victims of Franklin County. Number two, work to eliminate family and domestic violence in Franklin County. Number three, provide education to the members of the Franklin County community about the causes, signs, and avoidance of family and domestic violence. Number four, work cooperatively with other community organizations to accomplish these goals. Number five, serve as an advisor to the city regarding family and domestic violence issues. And number six, serve as a partner to city law enforcement for those family and domestic violence. So this is a big issue, not only in our community, but across this state, across this nation. And I've been fortunate, since I've been here, to work with two good Franklin County directors, and Cassie Myers is here on behalf of the Willow tonight to answer any questions you might have. But as I'm sure Chief Butler would attest to you, we use their services very much. And what this money does is help Cassie have some resources to help the families that need to leave their situation. They may need a temporary stay somewhere. They may need personal items. So this helps not only abused spouses, but also the children that are involved in that. So, Cassie.
Good evening. I would just like to thank you for considering this funding. Every day, a typical day, is assisting survivors in court, assisting them to places like the county attorney's office, police department, sheriff's department, advocating on their behalf, working with the city to get utilities paid, maybe finding a different place for them to live. Maybe they need to leave Franklin County for their safety. So we will do that. We not only work with domestic violence survivors, but we also work with human trafficking survivors. Sometimes they need safe shelter, and we get them to safe shelter. Sometimes I get calls at 8 p.m. and got to get in my car and make sure that they get to shelter. So we work very diligently just to make sure that safety is first for these survivors and their children. So do you have any questions for me?
Commissioners, are there questions for Mrs. Meyer or City Manager Neinstead? Thank you for your service. Thank you for their presentation. I would entertain a motion if there is one regarding this funding agreement.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner?
I move that we approve the 2017 Willow Domestic Violence Center funding agreement.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion among commissioners? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, that moves us on to item 22 on our agenda.
Request for approval of ordinance for conditional use at 1640 South Main Street.
This ordinance grants a conditional use permit to allow warehousing/storage at 1640 South Main in a C3 General Commercial District requested by Skyhook LLC. Mrs. Lee, I think there's probably a clarification there, but
I'm going to verify that. Actually, what they have an LLC called Old Skyhook LLC.
Okay.
But the applicant is Rick Dietz, and he is well known to the group of you as well as the community. And Mr. Dietz has several opportunities with that building. There's really 3 portions of the building, and it's quite a large building, as well as some adjoining parking ground to the south that abuts 17th Street. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this item at their meeting last month and reviewed all of the conditional use permit and the staff findings, created their own. There was a member of the public who, a neighbor, who came to the meeting and didn't have any objections, just had some questions and concerns that he expressed, and we reviewed with him, particularly around parking. The Planning Commission recommended to the City Commission with a vote of 5-0 to approve the conditional use with the following conditions: that all outdoor storage, if the applicant proposes to have outdoor storage, be screened from public view by at least 90% density screening, that the indoor storage be allowed except for products that are of highly combustible, explosive, or volatile in nature. Those 2 conditions are actually requirements anyway, but just so that there was clarity if somebody else were to look this up or be concerned about those kinds of things. The 3rd condition was that the term of the conditional use permit not be limited in time, as long as the use and ownership does not change. If the ownership would change, then a new hearing would need to be called so that that could be re-reviewed and discussed at that time. So those are the conditions that they proposed, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Commissioners, are there questions for Mrs. Lee regarding this conditional use permit? If not, I will entertain a motion, if there is one.
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve this item number 22.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion among commissioners? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Abstain.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes, motion carries. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Request for approval of agreement with Kansas Department of Transportation, KDOT, for 15th Street Bicycle Pedestrian Project and authorization to sign agreement.
The agreement between the City of Ottawa and KDOT for 15th Street Bicycle Pedestrian Project and authorization for Mayor Kaler to sign this agreement. Mr. Hafley, would you like to address this matter? It has nothing. I'm really excited about.
I hope so. And I hope it's just not me that caused you to do that. Mayor and Commissioners, this project was initiated prior to my arrival back in 2014. It consists of sidewalks on both sides of the street, or both sides of 15th Street from Main Street east down to Rock Creek, as well as bike lanes from Rock Creek up to Hickory, or yes, Hickory Street. So the turn lane will remain there, it will remain in place. It's just the addition of the sidewalks. This project was actually supposed to get completed last year, but we had some issues acquiring right-of-way and easements, but that's all been taken care of now, and KDOT is satisfied in that, and they are ready to proceed if we are. This project is funded at 80% by the transportation alternatives, and 20% of the project will remain with the city having that responsibility. And that responsibility would be $57,000 on the city's part. So I ask that you approve this project so we can finally get this thing done.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Hafley?
Just a comment that we talked about at the study session, in case the citizens are wondering, but I know every effort's been be undertaken to avoid cutting down trees, but I understand we got to remove one, but we're doing all we can to.
We have one tree that is going to have to be removed, and that property owner has been notified. They're well aware of it, but everything else we're either going around, or at least trees get to stay in place.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Commissioner.
This is, I guess, just another comment. This is another step in the direction of creating a bikeability and walkability of our community using the north-south spine, if you will, of the Prairie Spirit Rail Trail. Is creating another rib going east and west to connect other outlying areas of the community to the trail. And this is just another step in our process to accomplish this through the years. And so therefore, I move to approve the agreement as described in item, good grief, is it item 24? 23 of the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion among commissioners?
I also just agree it's a safety issue as well. We had all of our children multiple trips back and forth constantly and all made it safely. Lots of kids go that way, so we really need that for safety's sake as well.
Just in time while you're moving, I guess, right?
I may want to point out that I know that at the study session on Monday, I pointed out that there is not one time since we have added the bicycle and sidewalks on West 15th Street from Main Street all the way out to Eisenhower that there is not somebody utilizing the bicycle lanes, the sidewalks, and oftentimes there's multiple individuals using those. I can't imagine that adding that amenity to the east side of 15th Street won't also be utilized in the same fashion. I am so excited about this. I truly am. My yawn was not about the excitement. It's that my brain can't take how excited I am about adding bicycle and pedestrian walkways on 15th Street here in the city of Ottawa. Any other comments, commissioners? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries. Thank you. But don't go anywhere. Item 24 on the agenda.
Request for approval of agreement with Kansas Department of Transportation, KDOT, for Geometric Improvement Project and authorization to sign agreement.
Well, this is an agreement between the City of Ottawa and KDOT for a geometric improvement project at K68 and Main Street, and it gives authorization for Mayor Kaler to sign this agreement. Mr. Hafley, what do you have to tell us about this?
This, too, was a project that was initiated before my arrival, so I'm happy to see this finally coming through to fruition. This project will widen the turn radius at the northeast corner of that intersection, have new traffic signals installed with turn arrows for each turn lane, as well as pedestrian signals to cross each street. It will also have crosswalks installed around the entire intersection. So it will, too, become a much more pedestrian-friendly intersection. This project, as a geometric improvement, is funded at 90% by KDOT, leaving the city with 10%. However, if the bids come over, if the project total goes over the engineer's estimate, if the city decides to continue with the project, they're responsible for anything that's over that. This bid did come in over, which leaves our share of the project at approximately 13.5%, which comes to $62,000. I still think that this project is worthwhile, and I think now is the time to pursue this. So,
the $62,000, it will be allocated from what part of the budget?
Out of the special streets fund.
Okay, excellent. Any questions for Mr. Hafley, commissioners? If not, I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion we approve item number 24.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioners, is there any discussion? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Hafley, it is your night. Item 25.
Evidently.
Request for acceptance of bid for 2017 street rehabilitation, asphalt milling and overlay.
The bid letting for the 2017 Mill and Overlay Program was conducted on April 27, 2017. The engineer's estimate was $76,707.50 by Kilo Construction, who submitted that low bid, Kilo Construction submitted the low bid of $70,419.70. Mr. Hafley, do you think Kilo Construction will do it for $70,419? Well, they kick off the 70 cents. No, I'm just joking. I'm just trying to catch off guard there.
And that you did, Mayor.
Yeah.
That you did.
What do you have to tell us about this?
I can go talk to him. Well, we're finally on to a project that I started. This project, the Mill and Overlay project this year, we're primarily concentrating on parking lots. The first parking lot will be the one over by the Antique Mall on Walnut. And I forget which, and another parking lot over by Freedom Park. That will be a complete
Like Don Woodward?
complete overlay, no milling, because it's a new parking lot. We've already done the subgrade work. All we have to do is put the asphalt on top of the subgrade. And I'm sorry, I do not have it in my notes, which
Don't sweat it.
that's one I just talked about. I can't, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
The
list is available.
The list is available. But since the bids came in under the estimate, we are sitting in good financial shape to proceed with this project pending your approval.
Excellent. Commissioners, are there questions for Mr. Hafley? If not, I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner?
I would move that we accept the bid for the 2017 street rehab project for Mill and Overlay as stated in 25.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Request for acceptance of bid for 2017 street rehabilitation chip seal.
Well, this wraps up Mr. Hafley's time at the mic, and he is going to discuss the bid letting that happened for the 2017 chip seal program that was conducted on April 27, 2017. The engineer's estimate was $72,995.20. Vance Brothers Inc. submitted the low bid of $70,510.90. Mr. Hafley, tell us about this program.
This program, since I've been here, we have taken on the task of trying to eliminate the gravel streets in town to help control the dust and just create a better, healthier environment for our citizens. And the last couple of years, we've pretty well concentrated on doing nothing but gravel streets. But the chip seal layer that goes over top of a gravel street is a very thin layer, and we are concentrating this year on going back and adding another layer to a lot of those streets, as well as still putting that initial double layer down on a few of the other gravel streets. So, as you stated, this bid came in under the engineer's estimate, so we're in good shape to proceed with this project, pending your approval.
Commissioners, any questions or clarifications from Mr. Hafley? I may want to note that this process, this is the second year for this process to do the chip sealing over or is it the third year? Wow. Well,
2015, 2016.
Yeah, it's made a dramatic difference in many of our rock streets, and I know many of our citizens who have residents that are on the streets have made comments to me about how wonderful that's been that they've had the alleviation of a rock road. So I'm excited about this, as I think this, along with the street rehabilitation program that we have, in which we do the mill and overlaying, is one of the most visual things that our citizens see. So it is important to know that their taxpayer dollars are going towards helping to keep our infrastructure up. Our streets are visually they visually notice when they go down, so we're glad to keep them up and healthy. So I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner?
I move that we approve or accept the bid for 2017 street rehabilitation.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hafley.
I have a question for Mike. When is the chip and seal project supposed to start?
They have until, I believe it's August 31st to complete the project.
Well, complete it, but when will it start?
I can't answer that. We gave them a window to a deadline that they have to finish the project. So I've got to notify them and let them know that we've accepted their bid. And once that's done, they'll schedule it. They'll put it on their schedule to get it completed within the time frame that we've allowed.
Well, I hope it's then.
We will, you can certainly visit with Mr. Hafley at the end of this meeting, and I know Mr. Hafley is available during the day.
I have already visited Mr. Hafley and the city manager about where I live on the street I live on.
Okay, great. And we always welcome you to come during public comment and have a conversation with us. We'd love for you to do that. And we do that at the beginning of every single meeting. So, thank you. That moves us on to item 27 on our agenda.
Request for approval of naming Rock Creek Business Park Proximity Park.
Mr. Neinstead, would you please address this matter?
So, Commissioners, as you know, Rock Creek Business Park has been the operating working name for the new joint city-county business park at the south end of town. And I deliberately don't say industrial park because this business park is really so much more than an industrial park. And it's not the same as when we used to call things an industrial park 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But as part of this effort, Franklin County Development Council, which the city and the county jointly fund, was charged with developing a marketing plan. And as part of that marketing plan, they visited with members of both bodies, and they visited with a number of citizens, and part of that was to try to find the right name to market. So they had three choices, as you know. You had Proximity Park, you had Rock Creek, and about a number of variations, and I think Prairie
Spirit.
Prairie Spirit. So there you go. So Proximity Park won out, and I believe that the county commission today approved the renaming of Rock Creek Business Park to Proximity Park. So that's why it's before you today. So through shuttle diplomacy, you kind of indicated that you were okay with Proximity Park, and so that's why it's here, for you to approve it.
Mr. Neinstead, I believe originally it was called Rock Creek Park or Business Industrial Park for the lack of a better name, so it had something while it was being considered or developed. Is that correct?
That's true.
And so we're not really changing the name, we're actually naming it today and giving it its actual name.
Thank you. Commissioner Jorgensen, are there other questions for City Manager Neinstead? If not, I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion that we do name our park Proximity Park.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the naming of the new business park in town, Proximity Park. Any discussion among commissioners?
I would just like to point out that this, I think I like the name. We have an enviable highway system coming through town, and so with the X being much larger than the other letters on the scale, I think it looks like highways, and so I think it's important that we have that on the name. Also, the fact that it's a very unique name, hopefully it'll be out there where people will see that and wonder more about what is this, what does this mean, and maybe draw more attention. And then the third thing, we talked previously about being a business in the park, and Blake and I have talked about that at some length, and wondering if that might be needed, but in the context wherever this will be used, I think most people will know it is a business park, and so I'm comfortable without the word business in it now.
Commissioners, other discussion? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Kaler?
And I vote yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yes, thank you. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Commissioner resignation.
I know. Isn't it kind of sad? Do we have to? What if we don't do this part? In her capacity here as a city commissioner, as the mayor twice, as just a great public citizen. And we are very sad to lose her out into our county. We know that she will still be ever present here in the city of Ottawa. However, she won't be sitting here at the table with us. And that is a loss that I know that we will all feel. We do have a presentation for her in appreciation of her service here as a city commissioner, and the plaque reads as follows. In appreciation of Linda C. Reed, what's C stand for?
Carol.
Okay. Linda C. Reed, for 10 years of service as city commissioner for the city of Ottawa, 2008 to 2017, including 2 years as mayor, 2010 to 2011, and 2014 to 2015. And we present this reluctantly, but we are happy for your new endeavors, but we are really humbled by your service. So thank you so much. And I don't know that we have to stand. Do we have to stand up to do it? Okay, I just thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like for you to really.
We do need a picture.
Oh, we need a picture. See? Do we really?
Yes, John's here with the camera.
Okay, well, let's stand up.
We do need a picture.
Okay, let's stand up. We'll take a picture. Don't we really need all of us? I think everyone really needs to come up here. Because it's all of us. We're all kind of.
One of those.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We need a current one.
Got everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we'd like to hear your parting words of wisdom for us.
That was on purpose, wasn't it? I just want to say a couple things. I have very much, my life has been enriched by serving these years on the commission. And the planning commission part of that, I've learned so much. And I feel really indebted to the people that set the best examples for me. We've got Jean and Richard in the audience, and Blake, and all of you, really. But those people that went before me that helped teach me a little bit. I was pretty naive going into it, probably still am, but had to learn to have a little bit of a tougher skin over the years, over some of the things that go on. But this is an amazing community, one that I'm very, very proud of, and one that we'll stay a part of forever. It's just that we'll be a little bit further out. But I remember the first time I served as mayor, I think I'd just been sworn in, and the very next day had to do my first presentation, and we were opening the new part of 59 Highway to go north. And somebody told me that I was supposed to introduce the governor, but I was supposed to first introduce myself. So I had a case of the nerves, and I introduced myself as the mayor of Kansas. And then the governor came up and introduced himself as the governor of Ottawa. So he was pretty nice guy at the time, so that was pretty neat. But there's been a lot of great things that have happened in our city, and I don't take credit for any of it. It's everybody in the entire community that works together, all of the staff. the city manager, all of the department directors, and all the commissions. So I just am very humbled, especially need to thank my husband and my boss for allowing me the time to do that. So I just am very appreciative. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Report by the city manager.
City Manager Neinstead.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate your service here, and I appreciate your dedication to this community and to the bigger community. It is a pleasure to serve for public officials that are as dedicated as what this commission has been, what previous commissions has been, and it's good to see Commissioner Ramsey back here. It kind of feels like old home week.
Yes.
So
I didn't think you were going to have such a long
I was sitting here having a bet with myself when former Commissioner Ramsey would say something. I was going to suggest that you let him speak, but he just did. So there you go. So thank you for your service. Every commissioner brings something unique and different to the bench. Every commissioner processes in a different way. Every commissioner reacts in a different way and approaches the job in a different way. But the one thing that I have seen common in all commissioners is their dedication to this community, to the improvement of this community, to giving hope to its citizens about a better community tomorrow, and working for the good of everyone. So thank you very much.
That moves us on to the next item on the agenda.
Reports by city commissioners.
We are going to actually, we'll let Commissioner Reed go last since she has spoken, but she may have some parting last minute words. Commissioner Graves.
I just want to thank Commissioner Reed for her service, and I'm lucky enough I still get to see her several times a week, so I'm good there, but thank you very much.
Commissioner Skidmore.
I agree with that too, and I just appreciate Linda's pragmatic view of things, very common sense thinking. There were several times when I was thinking of saying something, I couldn't quite put the words together, and it came out of Linda's mouth. I mean, it was like, that was pretty cool. That was a good way to say it. So I also appreciate she laughs at my stupid jokes. So thank you, Linda, for that.
Somebody
too.
has to.
And, at least somebody has to, yeah. My wife does at home, and then Linda here. But I don't know if, do we need to make a motion for her departure? I didn't think that was necessary.
No, we've accepted it, unfortunately.
Okay, then that's fine. I don't want you to do that, but that's all. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Linda, for paving the way for us.
Commissioner Jorgensen.
Just, Linda, I've been privileged to serve on two public bodies with you. Linda and I served on the Planning Commission together prior to serving on the City Commission together. And 10 years on the City Commission is a long time, and with 2 years or 3 years on the Planning Commission. And I think if you go back 12, 13 years, I believe we can safely say that Ottawa is a better place for having you serve on these bodies. And I think it's a tribute to you also to have two former commissioners that have served as mentors of mine, and I'm sure of yours as well, come and see you off. I'm not sure, have we ever had an agenda with 31 items on it before for a meeting, but we're sending the office style here right now. So you came on the City Commission to replace to fill the unfilled term of a City Commissioner that was moving into the country, and now you're doing the same thing. So if you come back into town, consider getting back on the body. So thank you, Linda.
Commissioner Reed.
My only comment is, since I'm only 29, this is about a third of my life.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And your kids are like 20, I mean, just
young.
Yeah.
Very young.
Very young. 2, 7, you know. Good. Thank you. That moves us on to a report by the mayor. And the first thing I do want to bring up is when we did the resolution, or pardon me, the proclamation for Public Service Recognition Week, and I think that that Mrs. Lee brought that out really well. Everyone expects when you flip your light on that your lights are going to come on. Everybody expects when you turn your water on that the water's going to be clean. Everybody expects when you flush the toilet that it's going to go down. I'm not sure that everybody thinks about those employees who actually make sure that happens every single day, or those employees that make sure that we have a safe street to drive down, or that if we need police or fire service, that they are here, or if we need to pay our bill, we just expect people to be here to receive that bill. And so the public service that is done by our particular citizens here in the city of Ottawa is remarkable, and something that we we take for granted, unfortunately, way too often. And they should be thanked and celebrated. And I am so glad that we had that proclamation to celebrate those that give of their public service here serving in the city of Ottawa. Second, this is my dad's birthday. And so I know I brought it up, and I was unable to go to dinner with him, and I had to explain that to him tonight, and he said, well, he offered to take me out to dinner on his birthday. He was going to take all of his children out to dinner on his birthday, and I had to tell him that no, I have a service to do to this city. So happy birthday, Dad. If you know Darrell Kane, please tell him happy birthday. Tell him that I'm sorry that I missed his birthday celebration this evening, but nevertheless, I am celebrating with him in spirit. Lastly, a thank you to Commissioner Reed. I was so green when I came onto the commission, had no idea what I was doing, and you were kind enough to help me through some difficult things. So I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate every moment of service and that you've given, not to only to the individuals here sitting at this table, but the individuals out here, and to the citizens that may be listening, and those that aren't listening, that are really happy to have this community, and they have this community because you have been such a good leader. So thank you so much. That moves us on to announcements. May 8th, we have our study session, as we do every Monday, and May 15th at 4 p.m. at City Hall. We always invite you to join us at City Hall. If you cannot do so, you can watch on Facebook Live and participate in that manner. We do have our regular meeting on May 17th at 9:30 in the morning here at City Hall. And then on the 18th, as Police Chief Dennis Butler did indicate, we have a police memorial service at 6 p.m. at Faith Lutheran Church. Lastly, we have on May 22nd our study session at 4 p.m. at City Hall. If there's nothing else to be brought forward tonight, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner.
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.